Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Appreciate my new subscribers. Hmm. Sorry, I was eating some popcorn. Welcome back. I found this article and I thought it was interesting. And it was forbidden places around the world where humans are not allowed. I thought it was interesting. Some of you not gonna like it, I already know. But some of you may find this information interesting. So again, I got popcorn kernels from eating that popcorn. But I didn't realize that these places existed. I never heard of these places. No humans are allowed. And if you go, you pay a price in some of these places. So the first place is Snake Island, Brazil. And this article so long. I can't even say the name. It's in Spanish. Ida de Quemada Grande, otherwise known as Snake Island, would be Indiana Jones' worst nightmare. The island, which is located off the coast of Brazil, is positively crawling or slithering with endangered snakes. It's closed to the public to protect both people and the snakes. Wow, a snake, an island full of snakes. Wow, never knew that. North Sentinel Island. And I think these are people that this tribe never, you know, been in the public. I think this, yeah, this situated in the Bay of Bengal is North Sentinel Island, home to the Sentinelese indigenous people. They are one of the last populations on Earth who have yet to come into contact with the modern world and have been known to meet outsiders with violence. For this reason, it's strongly suggested that no one visits there. Yeah, that's that white man went to island to try to talk to the people, and honey, you go there, they're gonna kill you, pretty much. La Cause Caves in France. Uh, it contains a stunning collection of cave paintings that were created over generations of early humans. Wow. Unfortunately, everyone but researchers are forbidden from entering the cave, but you can visit La Croix too, which is an exact replica located about 600 feet away from the original. Wow, I didn't know these places even exist. Doomsday Vault in Norway. Look, it's under this. Wow, I guess that's Wintertown. Why it looks like that. Doomsday Vault in Norway is scientists' answer to a potentially future apocalypse. The purpose of the vault, which is located in Norway, is to store millions of seeds. Wow. Wow, the purpose of this vault is located to store millions of seeds in case the human race ever needs to restore any vegetation. The vault is ready for particularly practically any kind of apocalypse. It's tucked away in the mountains above sea level, can withstand earthquakes and explosions, and is built to last about 200 years. It's pretty clear why you can't go there. Y'all, if we run out of food and stuff, we got to get to Norway and get them seeds out that vault. Wow. Only authorized people are allowed. Sisay Island in Iceland. That's how that looks. I thought this was real interesting. Iceland's Surtsey Island formed a volcano eruption from 1963 to 67, making it one of the youngest islands in the world. It is currently used for scientific research only with the goal of observing how ecosystems develop without human interference. Pervago Island in Italy. Povaggio Island in Italy. I never heard of none of this. It's the perfect place for those who love creepy stories. Only you can't actually go there, so you just have to settle for hearing about it. The island has been home to tens of thousands of quarantine plague victims throughout history and was later converted to a mental hospital. It has since been closed off to the public, clearly for good reason. I bet you they doing all kind of experiments. Your Ura rock in Australia. Look at that rock. Wow. This peculiar looking sandstone monolith was once available for climbing on, but since October 2019, the people of Anjago tribe have asked tourists not to do so anymore due to the erosion it's causing. And while you can't climb on Ura any longer, you can certainly still go see it. Tomb of Queen Shi Huang in China. Hmm. The tomb of Queen Shi Huang is inarguably one of the greatest historical finds today. It was discovered during the unearthing of the Takata Army in 1974 and has yet to be exact, excavated out of respect for Chinese history and culture. King Shihong was the first emperor of Imperial China and the founder of the Qin dynasty, 221 before the birth of Christ. Wow. Big Down Mole Island in Russia. Mhm. Among the Bering Strait are two islands that separate the U.S. from Russia, Big Damon Island and Little Damon. Little Damon on the American side is home to just over 100 people, while Big Damon is not suitable for habitation and is used as a Russian weather station. North Brother Island, New York City. I never heard of these places. North Brother Island is located in the Bronx in New York and was once refuge to 1,000 people after a passion ship site. Later, it became a hospital for people with infectious diseases, but nowadays it's abandoned and functions as a bird sanctuary. Burnout Fort in India. Wow. While Benner Fort is open during the day, the general public is forbidden from entering from sunset to sunrise. No one knows what happens if you do try to visit after dark, because according to locals, anyone who has ever attempted has mysteriously disappeared. Wow. Wow. Prvek Branka in the Czech Republic. I never heard of this stuff. I never. Percheka Brana is Europe's largest natural sandstone art and the Czech Republic's biggest attraction, but unfortunately, no one has been allowed to visit since 1982 due to the constant foot traffic causing too much erosion. So we'll all just have to settle for oogling at this beautiful landmark from afar. Nahu Island, Hawaii. I ain't never heard another. Wow. This Hawaiian island, nicknamed Forbidden Island, was purchased by Elizabeth St. Clair in 1864 and has been privately owned by her descendants ever since. Only 170 people inhabit the island. Wow. Chapel of the Ark of Covenant in Ethiopia. Oh my God. Oh my God. Is that where the real ark is? Wow. Is that where it is? Legend has it that the Ark of the Covenant, which supposedly holds the written Ten Commandments, lies inside of an Ethiopian church called the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion. Unfortunately, none of us lay people are allowed in the chapel, not even historians or researchers. So no one knows whether this is true or not. That privilege is reserved for the guardian of the ark. Also turned into a nature preserve to protect the endangered species of the region. Paris Catacombs, France. Is that for the bees? There are few things creepier than Paris Catacombs, which operate as an underground interconnected tunnels beneath the city. And while there are guided tours of the catacombs, most of them are off limits to the public because the risk of getting lost or having something collapse on you is terrifying and very real. Mm. Ain't no telling what's down there. Chernobyl, that's where that radiation in Russia. In 1986, the world's biggest nuclear disaster to date, Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine. Residents were evacuated from nearby towns for 1,000 square miles around the site. Nowadays, there are tours that go into the exclusion zone, but living there or spending a prolonged amount of time in it is still prohibited. Wow. Marina Trench. Look at that. What is that? The Marina Trench is forbidden mainly because it is the deepest oceanic trench on Earth and is therefore nearly impossible for anyone to access, including research. The trench is more than 36,000 feet deep, and only four-man expeditions have made it to the bottom. For those who've had the opportunity to make it to the bottom, there's some pretty remarkable and bizarre creatures down there. Wow. Disney's Discovery Island. Well, you better not let your kids go on there. Shit, they might not make it back. Discovery Island was once open to the public at Walt Disney World in Florida from 74 to 99. Its purpose was to give patrons a look at some of the animal and bird species there. It's currently abandoned, but anyone can see it by boat. Pluto's Gate, Turkey. Oh, this looks like a time traveler thing. Yeah, time traveler. That's what I want to say. That's what that looked like. Portal. It's not difficult to see why people in ancient times believed Plutonian at Hierapolis or Pluto's gate to be a dangerous place that could bring about death. It was created as a religious site dedicated to the god Pluto and used as a ritual passage to the underworld. Oh, it is a portal. This seems fitting because scientists in 1965 confirmed that it was built on top of a cave that emits toxic gases, including high levels of carbon dioxide. Morgan Island, North Carolina. Look like monkeys. Look like monkeys. You know we have monkeys. Morgan Island in South Carolina is also known as Monkey Island because of its population of 4,000 rhesus monkeys. The monkeys aren't native but were brought over from Puerto Rico during the outbreak of the herpes virus B. Nowadays, people are prohibited from visiting Morgan Island both for their safety and for the safety of the monkeys. Terra India Zeke in Brazil. And interesting to me, everybody ain't gonna like this though. On the border between Bolivia and Brazil is the 1,750 square kilometers, a designated territory that the Brazilian government has set aside for uncontacted indigenous people. This territory is totally off limits to the general public. Can you imagine that there are people who have never had contact with the outside world and they still, damn, they can survive anything? Alwood Poison Garden in England. I like that gate. Mm. Tucked away inside of the beautiful English Onward Garden is something a little more sinister. A smaller garden full of plants that can kill you. You can't enter the garden at all unless accompanied by a highly trained tour guide, and the rules are very strict. 7 people fainted in just one summer after inhaling too many of the toxic fumes during tours. Ice Grand Shine in Japan. Mm. The Grand Shine of Ice in Japan is one of the most important sites of Shintoism. It was constructed around the 3rd century to honor Amaterasu, god sun and universe, but by tradition is reconstructed every 20 years to follow the Shinto ideas of death and rebirth. No one is allowed inside except for members of the Japanese imperial family. Diego Garcia, Indian Ocean. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Diego Garcia is a small island located in the Indian Ocean and was once home to 2,000 residents, but in 1973, the British government evicted all of the residents in order to make room for the U.S. to build a military base there during the Cold War. To this day, no one outside the military is allowed to go there. Her Island, Australia. Have y'all heard of any of these places? Her Island is a pint-sized territory owned by Australia but located out in the middle of nowhere, smack dab between Antarctica, Australia, and the tip of Africa, southernmost tip of Africa. Apart from being incredibly difficult to get to, its sole tenant is currently active volcano that makes it quite inhabitable to humans. Missouri, Russia. It's a small, closed-off town located in the Ural Mountains in Russia. It is rumored to be used as a nuclear missile site and is guarded by battalions to keep trespassers out. But as long as Russian authorities keep quiet about the town's actual purpose, we'll never know what it is for. Hmm. Varsha was once a happening beach resort town of Cyprus that brought in the likes of Bridget Bardot and Elizabeth Taylor, but in 1974, Turkish troops invaded after tensions with Greece came to climax. Today, the town is still completely abandoned and trespassers risk being shot by the Turkish military if you go there. Point Neopen National Park in Australia. That is beautiful. Mm. You can hike around much of this park on your own, but certain parks are off limits to general public due to its nature and dangerous conditions, including treacherous waters. It's located at the remote western tip of the Mornington Peninsula in Victoria and is home to many rare species of animals. Navessa Island, Caribbean. I ain't never heard of this. Navessa Island is in dispute between the United States and Haiti. Anyone who desires to visit must obtain a special permit, and those are rarely given out. Either way, the island is home to many species of rare wildlife that has certainly benefited from lacking human visitors. Coca-Cola vault. Coca-Cola vault. So why is something to do with Coca-Cola one of the world's most forbidden places? Well, it all comes down to formula. The real handwritten original recipe and formula for Coca Cola is housed in a multi-million dollar vault at the company's Atlanta Museum. The vault is viewable from outside but cannot be accessed. Dang. The Vatican Archives. Oh, I would love to go there. Oh, I would love to go there. Oh my God. Tourist attractions, but there's one area that's off limits to nearly anyone. The Vatican Apostolic Archive was established in 1612 to house the private papers of the popes and Catholic Church. Originally, the archives were completely private. Since 1881, the archives have been open to a select group of pre-approved scholars. Wow. Plymouth Merced. The residents of the town of Plymouth lived a quiet life on the Caribbean island of Merced up until 1995. That year, the volcano became active, leading to total evacuation of the town. The inevitable eruption turned the town into ash-covered wasteland, leaving half the island as a designated exclusion zone to this day. Area 51, that's in Las Vegas, and that's where the aliens are at. You cannot go there. Area 51 is military installation in Nevada. Stockpiles alien technology. The military say the facility is simply a flight testing facility. What's the truth? Well, it's possible to find out. According to many, North Korea has its own version of Area 51, known as Room 39. Defectors from the regime claim that Room 39 handles activities including counterfeiting, insurance scams, and drug production, along with some legal endeavors, are expected to make the country between 500 million to 200 billion USD. Of course, given the nature of North Korean government, nothing can be confirmed. Heart Reef. Oh, this is beautiful. Heart Reef is a small part of Australia's Great Barrier Reef that, as the name implies, is shaped like a heart. Thanks to its shape, the piece has become a popular photo destination. However, Heart Reef actually became too popular as the herds of tourists were doing serious damage. In response to divers and snorkelers have been banned from the area. That is beautiful. Maya Bay, located in Thailand, became a massive tourist destination after it was featured in Leonardo DiCaprio film The Beach. Over the next 18 years, the island was so inundated with visitors that the environment ecosystem began suffering irreparable damage. In response, the governor of Thailand temporarily closed the area in an attempt to allow the ecosystem to heal. So far, it hasn't reopened. Bohemian Grove, the men's club, where heads of state and presidents go and listen to Walter Cronkite, where they do the homosexual rituals there. They meet every July. According to urban legend, the Bohemian Grove Men's Club is a 2,700-acre campground in Monterey, California that serves as a massive playground for grown men. Supposing every July, a large group of members, VIPs, including U.S. presidents, government officials, business leaders, artists, musicians, and celebrities, gather for a massive party. Mount Weather. Hey, Money Loc, I just found the article. How you doing? Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center in Virginia is one of the safest places in the world. The massive bunker was built during the Cold War to safeguard members of the United States government in the event of nuclear attack. Oh, so it's only to safeguard members of the United States government while the rest of us, we just gonna die. Oh, then they got Fort Knox. That's where all the gold is. Remember, Trump and Elon was supposed to go and view Fort Knox. Ain't nothing in there. That gold been gone. And guess what? You ain't heard shit else about that. The name Fort Knox has come to represent implantable fortress in American pop culture. The well-fortified military base, which protects the country's gold reserve, is guarded by minefields, barbed wire, electric fences, area guards, and cameras. The vault has only been opened once in 1974 for members of the news media and members of Congress. Ain't no gold in there. I don't believe that. Utah's Mormon vault. They got a vault. In 1956, the Mormon Church built a massive vault in Utah. The massive houses and preserves the church's records, including 3.5 billion images on microfilm and digital media. The facility is off limits to all members of the public. Dose Base. It's long been whispered among some circles that there's a massive underground government base in Dose, New Mexico. Allegedly, the Dose base is home to everything from alien technology to human animal experimental hybrids. It's wow. Wow. Club 33. Mm. Yes, it's true. One of America's most exclusive places that's forbidden to nearly every citizen, right in the middle of one of the world's most visited theme parks, Disneyland. In the late 60s, a decade after opening the happiest place on earth, Walt Disney designed a fancy lodge in his park to wine and dine corporate sponsors. Eventually, the concept evolved in Club 33, a secret club and lounge only open to members. The cost of membership is $25,000. Yeah, they doing all kind of foul shit in there with Disney. Okay, 25,000 initiation fee and 10,000 annual dues. And even if someone has the money, the waiting list is a 10 years long. The National Security Agency has 8 fortified, windowless skyscrapers dotted around the United States. What really goes on in there, who knows? Marshall Islands Pacific Proving Grounds. From 1946 to 62, the United States used several areas in Marshall Islands as a testing ground for 67 nuclear detonation tests. The area was so devastated by nuclear fallout that some areas have been deemed unfit for any human, including the natives of the islands who've been forbidden from returning to their homeland. Ain't that a bit? This is Benwood Hill Air Force Base. Mm. Mercury, Nevada. It was a bustling town in the 50s full of shops, restaurants, and a ton of nuclear scientists. Yes, Mercury is another forbidden area whose status was brought on by the U.S. nuclear testing. These days, the town is rumored to still have several hundred residents, though no one can know since the only outsiders allowed in the town are credentialed researchers. Ooh, excuse me. Grossinger's Catskills Resort. I never heard of none of these places. So it's a resort that was filmed in Dirty Dancing with Patrick Swayze. I'm getting tired. Cheyenne Mountain. It's a massive U.S. military complex in Colorado that was built into a mountain. Over the course of its lifespan, the base has used facilities for NORAD, U.S. Space Command, Aerospace, Air Force Systems, Air Weather, and Federal Emergency Management. Douglas County, Georgia Data Center, OS, one of the most secure places in the U.S. Mm. All right, that's it. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. I'm about to go to sleep. Damn, it's 1:30. Council job in the morning.